What sound has most affected people who have recovered from deafness? Helen grew up in a world of silence, where sounds were only abstract concepts. Her days were filled with gestures, facial expressions, and the vibration of music that she felt through her body. One day, thanks to the latest medical technology, Helen underwent an operation that restored her hearing. At first, every sound seemed like a miracle to her, but one struck her especially: the whisper of the wind in the foliage of the trees. It was such a gentle yet powerful sound that transported her to a world she could only dream of. Michael was born deaf and mute. His childhood was filled with silence. He learned to read lips and used sign language to communicate. But one day, when he was 25 years old, he decided to undergo surgery to restore his hearing. After the operation, when doctors removed the bandages and turned on the audio machine, the first sound Michael heard was the sound of his own breathing. This simple sound pierced his heart with joy and surprise. He realized that his life had changed forever and he could now enjoy the sounds of the world around him. Kelly, who lost her hearing due to a terrible accident, struggled with this injury for 20 years. How many times had she dreamed of hearing the sounds of the world around her again? Thanks to lengthy and expensive treatment, she finally regained her hearing. The first sound Kelly heard after the operation was the distant but audible sigh of her son, who stood nearby, waiting impatiently. This simple yet incredibly meaningful sound filled her heart with joy and gratitude. She realized that there were so many sounds in this world that she had missed all these years, and now she was glad that she could hear them again. Alex went through numerous trials, finding himself in a world without sounds, in which he had been lost since early childhood. But even in silence, he did not lose hope of returning his hearing. After years of struggle and failed treatment attempts, surgery gave him a chance to hear again, although not fully. The sound of a car approaching was the first sound Alex heard after so many years of silence. This sound, which for many may seem simple or ordinary, was fascinating and unusual for him. It opened up a new world of sounds and sensations for Alex, filling his heart with joy and wonder. Now every sound, even the most ordinary one, was a valuable gift for him, a reminder that he was again part of the world of sounds and life around him. Anthony, an ordinary guy, was suddenly faced with unexpected hearing loss due to a serious infection. This was completely unexpected and amazing for him, because before this he had never experienced hearing problems. For Anthony, 2 months without sound was like immersing himself in a world of silence. He felt isolated from the world around him, unable to fully communicate with other people. But he did not lose hope and tried to find the strength to overcome this unpleasant period. When the day finally came for Anthony to regain his hearing, the first sound he heard was the melodious sound of birds singing outside his window. This simple but beautiful sound struck him to the core. He felt a sudden sense of gratitude for life and joy that he could once again enjoy the simple sounds of nature. Maria was delighted to be expecting her first child. However, midway through her pregnancy, she experienced unexpected hearing loss. This was a huge shock for her and caused a lot of anxiety. Doctors explained that this was due to changes occurring in her body during pregnancy. After the baby was born, Maria hoped that her hearing would return, but the first months after giving birth were still quiet. However, 6 months later, Maria began to gradually notice that the sounds began to reach her a little louder, and she began to distinguish the whispers and conversations of those around her. But the most emotional moment came when Maria heard her baby cry for the first time since her hearing returned. This was the moment she had been looking forward to, a moment that filled her heart with joy and relief. Hearing her baby's voice was the most important confirmation for her that her hearing was returning and that she could again fully enjoy the moments of motherhood.